Hi everyone, my name is Rodney Smith. I'm here with Board Game Geek at SPIEL 2018. I've been joined by Rajay Kabatsky.
Wow, yes.
Pretty close?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
thank you. Very kind, very kind.
And now?
and we have, well, okay, yes. I'm not going to pronounce. But you're with NSKN Games.
Correct.
And you brought with you the
Teotihuacan.
game. Teotihuacan?
Teotihuacan.
All right, so good little pronunciation guide there on the game. Tell us a little bit about the game. What's the theme? Can you start with the theme?
Well, okay, so we have the city of Teotihuacan.
Yeah.
And in that city we're powerful families. We have our little science here moving around the city. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to gain the most power. And this is, of course, as in many Euro games, signified by victory points.
Right.
And there are many ways to score victory points. One of the most important is building this huge pyramid inside.
Yeah, this is pretty cool looking.
Yeah, what you see here is actually, this is set up for 2 players, the pyramid itself. Depending on the number of players, we'll set it up slightly differently.
But this is what we're looking at the start. Like this
yes,
already? Okay.
And this is one of the triggers for the game to end. So a specific setup gives us a specific length of the game, more or less. Now the other thing that will actually measure our game are the eclipses. So every time the last player acts, this white token will move, and when they meet together, there will be an eclipse and a scoring of points. But what do we score the points on? What do we do?
Yeah, what do we do?
So this is a worker management game. So much like in one of our older titles called Praetor, you have dice, but you don't roll them. These are workers, your workers, and every time, almost every time they do something, they get more experience. And this is signified by them gaining a pip.
Okay.
So on your turn, what you do, you basically pick up one of your workers. Let's say I am yellow.
We got a bunch of beginner workers here, I see. There are a lot of ones.
Yes, they are all ones.
Yeah.
And you move 1 to 3 action boards. So I can pick up this guy and go here.
Yep.
Or I can go 1, 2, or I can go 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, when you enter an action board, most action boards have actually 2 spaces, and of course I forgot to put something here, have 2 parts. The main part and the worship part.
Okay.
Now, some of them don't have the worship part, so let's talk about this one. So when I get in here, I have 2 options. Either I pay cocoa, which is the money of this game, equal to the number of colors already here, mine might be included into that, to perform an action, or I decide, no action, I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, plus 1, 4 cocoa for myself.
You're paying it or you're receiving it?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
If I decide to go for the worship space, I don't pay, I don't look at the rest, I just put myself here and I take one of the 2 options here, or both. If I pay 1 cocoa, I can do both. But otherwise, I get the top ability, which is always either one of the temples, or choose which temple you want to go up on. We'll come back to temples in a moment. Or you take the discovery tile, that is on the bottom part, or you can pay to get both. Now, these are a bit tricky because you can't use this die again until either somebody bumps you out, or until you spend a turn taking all of your people out of the worship spaces, or until you decide to pay 3 and get your people out and then perform a normal turn.
I see, so that's a restriction of temples?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, so what do we do? There are 3, so you need to do anything, you need resources, and there are 3 resource action boards. There's one here, one here, one there, and this is a great thing to show you why the pips matter and what happens there. Because let's say I go into here and I want some wood.
Yes.
Let's say I have actually 1 red die there. I come in with another red die and I decide to go for wood. So I look at the number of dice here. So there are 2. I look at the lowest number available. That is a 1. I get just 1 wood.
So this is the number of dice.
Exactly.
This is the value of the dice.
Now the little blue thing is a pip. Every time you go to a place like this, you can advance one of your dice. So one of these workers would be a 2.
Okay.
After that.
Right.
And a few turns later, we could get to a situation like this. And in this case, I would be actually getting 2 wood.
Yes. Okay.
Or with even higher numbers, I can get even cooler things. Now, when one of those dice becomes a 6, they never become an actual 6. We get a new worker instead, so that's a 1. It goes here to the palace board, and we ascend. Ascending is really cool. Ascending also pushes this, so that's maybe not that cool, but what is cool is you get an instant bonus. Either 5 cocoa or 5 victory points, or you can move up on any temple. Or you can get an extra worker of yours on a 3, or you can pay 2 cocoa to move twice on the temples.
So the idea is what? That the worker is sort of retired, basically?
Yes, he's retired. He's fine. He's fine.
Nothing happened to him?
He's on a farm.
Okay.
He's living on a farm. Right. So now, very quickly, temples. Every time you're allowed to move up a temple, you get a little bonus. Any resource, 1 point or 1 cocoa. When you reach a place with a discovery tile, you can either pick up a discovery tile from there, any one if there are more than 1, or you can get a default bonus. If you go all the way up to the temple, firstly, you will unlock this extra scoring thing at the end of the game. So this is something. These are some extra points you will receive.
Right.
And right here there can only be one always. You get instantly some points. All right. We were gathering resources. What do we use them for?
Yeah,
Well, the most important thing is the pyramid. You can go here to build the pyramid. Now, depending on the number of dice and the number of resources you want to spend, you basically take 1, 2, or 3 tiles and you put them one by one. Now, when you put a tile, let's say I want to put this on the bottom level. There are some points for just putting it, 1 point, plus for everything you can match, you get an extra point. So let's say if I put it here, that wouldn't be a very good match, but let's just put it here. That would be 1 plus 1, that's 2 points. Now, the fun part begins when you have those with the colors.
So they don't have to be touching, they just have to be... You said, where are our matches here?
The matches are, you cover up
Oh,
the
I
matches.
see, it's what's underneath. I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Now, the fun starts when you're dealing with ones that actually have colors on them. Because if you manage to actually match this, so if I put this, well, let's say here,
right,
I would still get just 1 point for this.
Yeah.
And because it's red, so it activates the temple, and if I was, let's say I was actually here,
okay,
I go still up. So you can build pretty nice combos here. Also, every time you build a piece of the pyramid, you go 1 step up on the pyramid track. I'll come back to that in a second.
Sure.
Now, the second thing is also, you can also build decorations. Decorations are very simple. You just pick up one of the tiles, you place it on one of those 4 spaces around, and when there is one here and there is a second level here, you can put it here. And so on. You build them like little stairs. Right. And again, the same type of bonuses, colors give you moves on the pyramid. You always get 3 points for them, plus anything you match. Right, so we have this, we have this. You can, of course, also build a little bit of housing. You can go to this board here to basically build houses. Now, every time you build a house, depending on the number of dice, the higher you can place it. With 3 dice, hey, you can put it on 7 points immediately. And you also go up on the Avenue of the Dead. You go up on the Avenue of the Dead whenever you build a house and whenever you actually ascend. And now, when these 2 markers meet, we go to a scoring, to an eclipse. And during that, you will score a number of points for each of the steps on the pyramid, but then you go down.
Yes.
A number of points for each of the steps of the Avenue of the Dead, but you don't go down. However, every time you build an extra building, this is the number of points. So the more buildings you build, the less valuable it will become.
Right.
So the heavier people invest in it, the less valuable each step will be. Then you have to feed your workers with cocoa.
Yes.
If you can't, you'll lose some points. So, you know, that's something probably good to have in mind.
Yes.
And you score masks. Masks are a special discovery tile. I haven't talked about discovery tiles. There is a lot going on in this game.
Sure.
So masks is one of the type of the discovery tile. Different masks will give you more and more, progressively more points. So you wanna get at least a bit in on this action to score some points. Discovery tiles come in also in different variations. Some of them will allow you to pretend you have an extra die somewhere.
Are these sort of randomly placed at the beginning of the game?
Yes, they are.
Change it every time?
They are randomly placed, and randomly placing is something we've got to go back to. Oh, I forgot to mention technologies. We have a board with technologies here. Every time you come in here, you can pay a little bit of gold to put your token on one of the technologies. Technologies are pretty much special abilities that work with different player boards.
Okay.
Whenever you place a marker on somebody else's technology, you can still keep it, but that person gets 3 points. Now, technologies, why am I talking about this when we're talking about randomization? Now, the thing is, what you see here, everything is printed on the board.
Yes.
Technologies are printed, the palace board here is printed with those tiles. Now, play this is the recommended setup for the starting game. Play this a few times, you know the ropes already. All right, here are the action boards. So basically,
so we can change some of these.
Only
completely.
1 and 8 stay in the same position, they have to. The other ones, you can randomize them.
Wow.
And then...
It's like an expansion in the box.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And then have some more text. These are not... Oh, I just pulled some from the box. So put the text... Actually, you can see this board is empty. So put the random text here. Put some random palace tokens in those spaces.
Right.
Change the game. Or maybe start with a little change.
Sure.
Maybe
Small
just start by doing
this,
this, and this. And then putting the technologies there. Okay. And then if you really want to mix it up, take the boards and mix everything up.
And what was it again? You said triggers the end of the game?
The end of the game is triggered by a third eclipse.
Yes.
Or by finishing the pyramid.
Okay.
Which is why it has slightly different setups for different number of players.
And then whoever has the most points, I presume,
absolutely,
has the most power, and therefore...
Exactly. At the end of the game, you also will score those little bonuses here. This one is not really a bonus. And of course, we actually have those tiles as well, so you can swap those as well. Lots and lots of things going on. I recommend anyone who plays this game to play a few times without adding anything.
Sure. Yeah.
And when you know
enough
the
to
ropes,
get your head around here.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's very good. And how long does this typically take to play? Assuming people are sort of familiar and know how to play, how long would you say?
Our experience shows that it almost always takes from between 60 and 90 minutes, depending on the number of players. Why is that? Because the first time you play it, you're a bit iffy on the rules and stuff.
Sure.
Later on, when you really get the game, it's a game that really,
You can put some brain power into it?
Oh yeah, you have to. And those final turns, when the game end is triggered, this is the moment when people really, you can see
serious.
smoke coming.
Yeah.
You can see smoke coming.
And is this something that's available right now?
It is available right now. It should be available very shortly in distribution. Right now we have copies for sale in Essen.
Excellent.
And
And then after that, the rest of us too.
Absolutely.
Those of us who are not here at the show anymore. Right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much.
Give us an overview. A lot going on here. You did a very short period of time. Very good.
Thank you.
You've had some practice, I think.
I think yes.
Excellent. Well, thanks. Hope you all enjoyed. We'll see you later.
Thank you.